Hey everyone, wanted to film an unboxing of some old PC keyboards I got recently off of eBay. I think there's 6 in here. I paid $35 shipped. They're nothing special, as you'll see, but there's one I'm pretty excited about. So we'll get into it here. I don't know how long this box has been sitting around, but the Amazon Fire Phone hasn't been a thing for a while. So I'm surprised to see. The seller must have had this box sitting around for a long time. Anyway, alright, packaged surprisingly well, actually. Okay, there they are. Let's get them all out, get this stuff out of the way. They're dirty. Really dirty. Alright, so let's go through them. This one, nothing special, obviously. Man, they don't smell the best. This is not why I bought the lot, so we'll get that out of the way. This one's kind of, man, what happened to this thing? This one's a little cooler. An HP, probably early 2000s or something like that. No date, unfortunately. Also not why I bought it, and man, that thing is a mess. This one's kind of cool. It's always cool to see old gateway gear. Yeah, I'll have to Google. I wonder what this is all about. Probably some software that came with those machines in the 2000s. And then this one's also kind of cool. I think it's cool to see the old Packard Bell stuff with that old logo. Not actually, I mean, it's not mechanical or anything, but that one's not a bad feeling keyboard. I'll probably clean that one up. Another old one. So this has the older, bigger PS2 connector. LITEON, yeah. It's just missing feet, of course. I'm sure they all are. Also, you know, for not being mechanical, not a bad feeling keyboard. I might clean that one up as well. And then this is the one I actually was after. So I think old digital stuff is super cool. They just have such an interesting history with the mini computers, the PDP-11, PDP-8, the VAX computers and everything. So yeah, this one has both feet. How about that? And what's kind of, my mom worked for digital in the late 80s, which is kind of cool. She was like an administrative assistant type thing. But yeah, so I always like finding old digital stuff, and I don't even have any right now. This was a problem, obviously, but this is probably such a common, I bet these are pretty standard keys, that I can steal one from one of these other ones. This is also really not a bad feeling keyboard. This is a little weird. That's an old school setup. Yeah, not too bad. So I think what we'll do is I'll get a PC set up to plug this guy in, and we'll see if it works, and then I'll clean it up. Alright, here's the test setup. I got this little Think Center booted with this other keyboard right here, off screen. I've got this USB to PS2 dongle. Obviously, I'm going to need that. I know this dongle works. I've used it before. So if we have problems, that shouldn't be the issue. So, moment of truth. Ooh, saw some lights blink. Numlock, on and off, caps on and off. I bet it just works. I was never too worried. Okay, so we're in Vim. Let's type the keyboard leaves a little bit to be desired. Yeah, keyboard barely works on the on this right side here, unfortunately. That might just be a spring we could tighten up. Let's try F1. Yep. Yeah, I would say I'm not gonna do a full run until I clean it, but yeah, I would say this is working. Control works. Command or Windows or Special or whatever that thing is called works. Yeah, this key here, which used to be on some keyboards, is right clicks. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, I think this is working. The next step will be cleaning it up. And I unfortunately noticed something. I don't know if I can get this camera to zoom in. This key fell out for a reason. It's got a cracked edge right there. I bet we could fix it, or even if I found a key, a suitable replacement, it might just stay on anyway. The crack doesn't look to be that bad, but maybe some super glue or something. So yeah, but I'm thinking this thing works. Let's clean it up and I'll show you the finished product. So yeah, you're probably not going to learn anything new from this part, but you really only need two things to clean electronics pretty good. Isopropyl alcohol, of course, as close to 100% as you can get it. I got this on Amazon years ago and it's lasted forever. And then Windex. Windex cleans these plastics super well. That's one of the best things you can use to clean all this stuff. You could probably even get away without the isopropyl if you just had a bunch of Windex. And then, of course, paper towels and lots of Q-tips. I like to use these, I think they were originally like salad dressing containers if you're like prepping your lunch and taking it to work or something. And I pour the isopropyl alcohol in that and then dip the Q-tips. It just makes it easier to work with. And they're also really nice if you're taking something apart and you can put all the screws in here. So yeah, I have a bunch of these and you just reuse them over and over and over again. And I'm also going to pull the keys, I think, because it looks really gnarly. So I have just one of these cheap little key pullers, and on a keyboard like this, it's really quite easy. You get the two sides around a key, pull up, and it comes right out. And what I'm going to do with these is throw them in this bucket and fill that with warm water and dish soap and scrub them, basically. So yeah, let's... I'll say one thing. This keyboard has a totally standard layout. If you're dealing with some older stuff, you know, like a Commodore 64 or something even more obscure, take some pictures before you pull all these keys off, just so you know where they go back. This one's easy. I could look at any other keyboard and know where they go. But yeah, let's get to it. Yeah, pretty gnarly in there. So we'll clean that out next. All right, that's sort of the preliminary clean. Better, but quite a bit more to go. So I'll keep cranking at this and bring you back when time to put keys back on. All right, so it's pretty clean. Good enough for me anyway. I think I mentioned earlier the spacebar was not working very well, and the spacebar actually uses both of these depending on which side you're pressing on. And if I press on this one, it's working on the screen. Sorry, you can't see it. And then this one does nothing. And so, unfortunately, that means I need to take this apart and probably clean some contacts. So it looks like some of these screws on the front here. Like I was saying earlier, you just throw them in there. There's a few of these. And then I should probably unplug it on the other side. Quite a few more. Okay. And hopefully, yeah, this just lifts right up. That's perfect. And what I'm hoping to see under here are some like carbon contacts maybe. Something I can clean basically. So let me see, where was the space bar? Okay, it's this one. This one is not working very well. So I'm hoping, yeah, perfect. There's the contacts. So what we'll do is, this is a little dirty, but doesn't seem to be a problem. So what we'll do is we'll take a little isopropyl and I'll clean this side, but it's not dirty as far as I can tell. And then this lifts up, and this is probably the actual culprit. So I'll put a little, you don't want to do much because you don't want to wipe this carbon off. Let's see what's on the other side. Yeah, we'll clean up all this. And you can see that carbon, maybe you can see it kind of comes off. There's a few ways you could do this. Another way is to really lightly wipe just like white printer paper on it. And a lot of the time that's enough to clean it off. I'm just waiting for the alcohol to dry here. So we'll wave that off. Okay. I'll lay this back down, and what I'm going to do is plug it back in. Like so. Okay, so that means it's ready. This one still works. This one does not. Okay, so we'll have to dig a little deeper maybe. Okay. Things have escalated. So basically I'm going to use my multimeter and trace out the circuit. So if it says this, basically no connectivity between these two wires, and if it has a reading of 0 or higher, that means they're connected. And so the idea here, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this on camera, the multimeter reading I mean, but I'll read it out. So this is the troublesome pad here. And so there could be the problem that, you know, one or both of these is bad and they just don't touch each other properly and connect the circuit. And I'll try to come up with a way to test that in a minute. But the general theory is that somewhere along the line after this in either direction is open or broken. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to test both membranes. So the top membrane here connects and touches this carbon pad. The two carbon pads touch and create a circuit. And if the circuit has a break anywhere along the line somewhere else, or perhaps these pads are bad, that would cause this key not to work. And so I've cleaned them. You saw me do the basic, you know, troubleshooting, which usually fixes this 99% of the time, more than that, 99.9. And so now the theory is that somewhere after this, there's a break. And so I'm going to test that like this. So what you do is you follow this trace. And so if I follow it to the right, for example, and we're going, this is the next one. And so if I touch both of these, the multimeter now says 0, over 0. So these are connected, and that's what you would expect. And then you basically just go on down the line. So the next one, also connected. That means there's no break between those two. The next one, connected, and so on and so on and so on. Both directions, both sides of the keyboard membranes. And so I'll spare you the pain of watching me do that. And I'll come back with hopefully some information about what's going on here. All right, I have like no news basically. So this is our problem key. I've traced it back on both sides of the membrane all the way back to these points here. No breaks. And so the next thing would be, okay, maybe one of these pads is messed up. Maybe they can't. They're not touching, making contact properly. And so to test that, I can put one of these guys here, and this one I've circled over here, they both come back to that. And so I can test on, lift this up a little bit, test on one side, we have a connection there, test on the other side, we have connection, and then if I go up to the other side of this one, connection and connection. So like I was saying, I traced all the way back here, and unfortunately what this means, and I examined this board, unless I'm missing something and didn't trace back properly, something's wrong with this, I guess. I mean, that's kind of my last ditch idea there. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I can come up with a way to connect this to this. So I mean, these do the same thing and this one works fine. So I might be able to come up with a way to, when you press this one, it actually is closing that circuit or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Usually these are pretty easy to fix, or it's at least obvious that there's a problem. It's also bizarre that all the other keys in the line are working. Actually, no, it's not bizarre. So it would have been bizarre if this wasn't working, the rest were, and I found a break. That'd be weird. But this isn't working, the rest are working, like even, this one's working, all that. So that does imply some sort of bizarre chip behavior here. So I guess the good news is I have a pretty clean version of this keyboard. If you would have told me I would have paid $36 for these 6 piece of crap keyboards 20 years ago, let's just say I wouldn't have believed you. But yeah, to buy this same keyboard on eBay theoretically in working condition, people want like $25. It's like, geez. Anyway, the good news is a little bit of a bust because I really wanted to save this one. But the good news is, let's clean this up because I'll bet you this one works just fine. And yeah, I really wanted to get one of these working to actually start using it. They're not mechanical, but they're nicer keyboards than, whatever crap I've got lying around. You could tell I'm not exactly a keyboard purist here. This one's actually kind of interesting. It's got a metal back. It's kind of nice. I'm not going to go through all the effort of pulling the keys off. That's just way too much of a pain for what I want to do here. But I'm going to wipe this one down. I'll time lapse that. I'm not going to put this, I'll put this back on, but I'm not going to put the keys back on because you need to take all the keys off to take this apart. And so I'll wait and try to get parts for this over time. I do want to bring this back to life. But yeah, in the meantime, this is the next project here. So let's get cleaning this one. All right, total change of plans. My friend Packard Bell here doesn't work at all. Totally broken. So that probably warrants its own video. And this big clunker, the gateway, works perfectly. So we'll clean this one up. And, good enough for the girls I go with, as they would say in the Midwest. This is a pretty good trick for stuff like this. You use an old credit card. I cut this one in half, I don't know, 7 years ago. Anyway, then you wrap it with paper towel, spray it with whatever cleaner you're using, and then you can kind of really get cruising. It's good for more than just keyboards too. Anywhere you can fit a credit card, basically. It's interesting, this keyboard, I can actually go diagonally like this in both directions. That was not possible on that digital keyboard. They were spaced differently. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Well, a lot better. And yeah, I wanted to show one more thing that is super easy to overlook and not think about, which is cleaning the cord. So it's amazing how dirty they get. So all you need to do is take a paper towel and Windex or whatever cleaner you've got, and you just run the cord through a couple times like that, and look how much crap is on there. And every cord I've ever cleaned looks like that. So you basically do this until it's, you know, your level of acceptable grossness, and like it's gonna be gross every time. So yeah, I'll do this a few more times, and then I think this guy is ready to be put into use. All right, so you win some, you lose some. I really would have liked to have revived this digital keyboard, but a couple hurdles in the way. It's missing a key, obviously, and amazingly, the other 5 keyboards didn't have a compatible key. I checked, so that would have been a problem. And then the right side of the spacebar doesn't work. And as you saw, I traced out a couple times just to check my work, and it doesn't seem like it's the pads, the carbon pads on that particular key, and I don't see any break in the traces. So I'll probably take a week off, come back with fresh eyes, and see if I maybe missed a break in the trace or traced wrong maybe. But yeah, if you have any other ideas on what might be wrong with this one based on what you saw, let me know. I would like to get this one running again. And then the Packard Bell let me down right away. So when I started cleaning this one, I noticed that one of the screws was loose and another one is just like totally missing. And when you plug it in, the numlock light lights up and nothing else works at all. So this one has problems. Someone's been in there and it's probably a mess. So I'm sure it's fixable, but that'll be another video. So that leaves us with Old Faithful, I guess. The Gateway. So is it as cool as these other two? No, not in my opinion. The Packard Bell actually arguably had the best feeling keys. Am I going to use it? Absolutely. So right after I finish filming this video, I'm going to plug it in to this rig here and use it as my main keyboard. So yeah, hopefully you had a good time watching this, and I'll catch you in the next one.